Hello everyone, this is Commander Steve back from Bulk. I'm going to uh, make this video so you can use your joystick with the Star Atlas and the current first release of the showroom. What we are going to do is we are going to use an application called Joystick Gremlin, and we are going to do different things. The first thing we are going to do is to map the joystick buttons to the mouse buttons. Then we will map joystick buttons to keyboards. Then we will map joystick axis to keys. And then we will map joystick axis to the mouse motion. Okay. Um, just to clarify the configuration, as I said, I'm using Joystick Gremlin, which is an application. I will provide you guys the link here in the description. And this is an application which is used to be able to configure and kind of customize your joystick to your liking. Okay, it's used by a lot of players which play in space simulation games and use non-standard configurations or advanced configurations. The one I'm using right now, it's a dual joystick configuration. It's called Hosas or Hosas Plus because what I'm doing is basically using my two joysticks for the 6 degrees of freedom that any space game needs. And I'm also using my pedals to control the throttle. So, as I said, I have two joysticks here, these two, and I also have pedals, basically the pedals connected to the throttle, which are these two ones. These two ones are a little bit more complex, so if you want to know about pedals because you are going to use them in your configuration, just let me know, and I will answer you and tell you how I did it. So let's start by the first thing, which is assigning the buttons in the joystick to, or mapping the buttons in the joystick to buttons in the mouse. Okay, I'm going to start here with a two buttons mouse, which is the standard that we have in Star Atlas. And what we are going to do that is to click in our joystick. If you are new to joystick Gremlin, you can find that by deactivating. This is activated. This is deactivated. Uh, the mapping, and then just click in any of your buttons. Okay, so if you click in your buttons, you will see that you can go up and down to the configuration. Okay, let me just, you see, if you move, I have this mapped right now, so it's not going to work as expected. But in any case, um, what we are going to do is we're going to map the button. So we are going to come here to the button 1, and we are going to set map to mouse. That will bring us this window, and we will click button, and then we will click here. It will let us. It will ask us which is the button we want, and then we will click left. It will stay as it was. Okay. For the second button, which is the second weapon or the missile, we will do the same, but in this case, we will click left and then click right. So we will get the right button mapped. Um, and that's it. That's the way we map buttons to mouse buttons. Okay. Now we are going to map our joystick button to a key. In this case, the T key. Okay, you can use it for any key that you have in the game, like for example, air brake or the change from hover to flight, anything you want. Okay, as many buttons as you have, as many fingers as you have. So the button 3 in this case, what we do is instead of mapping to mouse, what we are going to do is to map to keyboard. Okay, and then we click here, press T, and that's it. Okay, now every time we press the button 3 in our joystick, this will mean the same than pressing the key T. Okay, the next thing we are going to do is to map an axis to the keyboard. When do we want to do that? Okay, as I said before, I use two joysticks, so I will explain you how I do it here. The X axis in my main joystick, the right one, which is this one we are now, is basically mapped to rolling left or right, okay? Rolling left is the Q in a Star Atlas, and rolling E is the right in, I mean, the rolling right is the E in the Star Atlas, okay? So what we are going to do here, I will just do it for you guys so you can see it, is we are going to say, okay, map to keyboard. We will click twice, okay? And then we will say here, okay, this is left and this is right. We will record the keys. Now we will go to the virtual button, okay? What means this? What this means is basically that if I move the axis on the negative side, meaning the left of the x-axis, then from 0 to 30, you can adjust this as you want, guys, but I recommend you leaving at least 15 or 20, depending on your joystick. So if I move my joystick in the x-axis from minus 30 or the 30% to minus 1, then I will be doing like pressing the Q. And if I move it from 30 to 1, meaning the 30% of the joystick or the total 100% of the joystick from anywhere, it will mean that I am pressing the E key, meaning that I'm rolling right, okay? This is the same if we want to do this for example, um, the left hand in my case. Some of you guys will use something else. Maybe you want to keep using keys. That's okay. But what I do is I use the second joystick so that allows me to move sideways and up, down, and gain and lose altitude, basically using an analogic device. Okay. In this case, we are going to do the same way. Left is or strafing left is A, and strafing right is D. So that's what we are going to do. In the case of D, we will be moving on the positive side, and in the case of A, we will be moving on the negative side. Same with the y-axis that will move us up and down. In this case, the keys are the left control and the spacebar. Spacebar pushes us up, left control pushes us down. So we're going to be moving with this. In this case, I use the positive side to go down and the negative side to go up. That's how I work. Some other people have it otherwise. They use the positive side to go up and the negative side to go down, etc., etc. Okay. So this is the same. Basically, we are managing to we are mapping axis to keys. Okay. Now, how do we map axis to the mouse? This is the most important part. Well, there are two mouse axes that we can use: the x-axis and the y-axis. In the case of the e-axis, that corresponds in my configuration to the Z rotation, meaning twisting the joystick left and right. How do I do that? Well, I just set map to mouse again, but instead of setting a button as I was doing before, what I'm going to do is set a motion. And in this case, what I'm going to set is a minimum speed of 100 and maximum speed of 1000. Why? Otherwise, the speed of the reaction will be too slow for a spaceship. In any case, you would want to play with this and set it up to the speed that you feel comfortable with. Okay. Now, this is how we control the x-axis. If you go to the y-axis, the thing gets a little bit more complicated. Why? Because the y-axis is basically really it's going inverted. Okay, so what we are going to do, and I'm going to show you, is that we are going to do something different here. If you try to invert it in a Star Atlas, it will not work. It will always go in the wrong way. Okay, so what we are going to do first here is we are going to do what is called a response curve. That's an advanced concept that I will explain in future videos when we will already have proper setup for joystick players. But by now, what we want is to basically invert the joystick. So we're going to keep the cubic spline, we're going to invert the joystick, and now we are going to remap again in the same box. Don't do it outside, do it in the same box. We are going to map to mouse. At this motion, we will go from 100 to 1000 in the y-axis, and we will keep it that way. Once you have mapped all your buttons, as I said, you can map any button of the keyboard, any button on your mouse, and everything you want to do. Don't forget to save it, okay? So you can use it for further plays. And also, don't forget to deactivate and activate it again. If you don't do this, what will happen is that the changes will not be set. If you keep this deactivated, it will actually not work at all. Your joystick will work as a standard joystick, so it will not be recognized by the game. But if you click it this way, you activate it again, and then all the changes are set up, so you can play as you were intending to. Okay. So this is what I did. If you have any questions, just try to find me. I am in the Star Atlas Discord, or you can also find me in Bulk, or you can also find me in the club. I am in any of those, also in Star Atlas TV. Okay, just open me a DM and tell me, listen, stay back. I have a question here, and just could you please help me, and I will be very glad to help you. Okay. All right. Have a nice day.